Stephanie Carter is former Defense Secretary Ash Carter's wife. And when Ash Carter was being sworn in as Defense Secretary during the Obama administration, there was a photo featuring Stephanie Carter and Joe Biden that went viral. Now, it's going viral again, especially considering the piece that Stephanie Flores wrote in The Cut, where she talks about an uncomfortable physical interaction she had with Biden. And so this is a favorite for the right wing. They love to share this image and make it appear that Joe Biden is some sort of, sexual predator. But I do think it's important to share the perspective of Stephanie Carter, and she did come public or go public with her reaction to this. So here's what she writes. By the time then Vice President Biden had arrived, he could sense I was uncharacteristically nervous and quickly gave me a hug. After the swearing in, as Ash was giving remarks, he leaned in to tell me thank you for letting him do this and kept his hands on my shoulders as a means of offering his support. But a still shot taken from a video, misleadingly extracted from what was a longer moment between close friends, sent out in a snarky tweet, came to be the lasting image of that day. I thought it would all blow over if I didn't dignify it with a response, but clearly that was wishful thinking. I won't pretend that this will be the last of that picture, but it will be the last of other people speaking for me. So she's arguing that this photo, which might make it appear that I was uncomfortable, is not giving people my views, my real views. And my real view is, no, there was nothing wrong with that. He didn't do anything that made me uncomfortable.
Look, so I'm split on this one too. Of course I believe her, and that was the day that her husband was being sworn in as defense secretary, and it turns out they've been friends with the Bidens for a long time, and she slipped on the ice or whatever, so she was actually uncomfortable, and Biden did soothe her, and since they've been friends a long time, there was nothing untoward, etc. I believe every part of that.
The word soothe is uncomfortable.
Yes, I hear you on that too. But did she look a little uncomfortable as Joe Biden, is inside her hair? His nose is at least has, lodged itself in her hair. Of course she was uncomfortable, come on. And look, if this was the only picture and the only time, I'd say, hey, people are exaggerating. She says there was nothing wrong with it, let's move on. And our original co-host, Pat Mankiewicz, says, pictures don't tell 1,000 words, they lie. And so it's just a moment in time. On the other hand, we have seen and we have shown on this show countless times that Joe Biden has done that to different women and girls. So it's not like it doesn't happen, it definitely happens. And that's why Lucy Flores and Lapos and some others are now coming forward and saying, hey, you know what, we were uncomfortable with it. He shouldn't do that anymore, at a bare minimum. So Stephanie Carter, to be fair to her, was not uncomfortable with it. And so you shouldn't speak on her behalf, because she had no problems with it at all.
And that's an important thing to remember, because with the Me Too movement, we've all seen people exploit that movement in order to put words in the mouths of other women, in order to make a big deal out of a situation that the woman in question didn't have an issue with. I think that that's the wrong way to go about it as well. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't take someone like Lucy Flores, we shouldn't take that seriously, because what she has to say is relevant, it's important. And regardless of what Biden's intentions were there, she was uncomfortable with that physical contact, and he should be aware of it and not make excuses about how there's some sort of cultural divide or disconnect.
Yeah, last thing on this is now they're asking all the presidential candidates, and Klobuchar said, I have no reason not to believe Lucy Flores. Does anyone not believe Lucy Flores? Yeah, everybody believes her, right? Be kind of weird not to believe her. The question is whether you think that that's a disqualifying, a big deal, a small deal, a mid-sized deal. That's the question at hand. And so now all the candidates are having to say that they believe her. Elizabeth Warren, Julian Castro. I don't know, it's a pet peeve of mine. Stop asking them that. It puts them in an unwinnable situation. It's not fair to those candidates. I got no love for Klobuchar, as in terms of ideology. I'm not on her side of the Democratic Party, But what do you, I mean, is she supposed to say Biden is guilty? She's supposed to say Biden's not guilty? What is she supposed to say? So it just puts all the other candidates in a weird spot, and it's not for them to necessarily judge. And if somebody wants to jump out and quote unquote take advantage of it, that would be a different situation, right? But if you're asking the candidates and getting in their grill, and then now, of course, the new parlor game is we're gonna judge every word of every other candidate about what they said about this potential candidate. Okay, that part you should let go. Let's focus on what the real issue is, which is drawing a line and saying that this stuff is not acceptable anymore. Even if you thought it was in the past, a lot of people don't think it was acceptable in the past, but even if you believe that, you gotta stop it now. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.